committee and working group updates. So we have, first one is Codes and Ordinance Joint Committee. Do we have an update? I guess Commissioner Schisler is the only one representative of that right now.
The last meeting was the ordinance for the new floodplain with the Atlas 14.
Mm-hmm.
So we approved that to move forward.
Okay.
So we, and we haven't had one this month. We'll have it next week.
Okay. Next, we have the Comprehensive Plan Joint Committee. We have update?
So we meet on Thursday, and I'm looking at their milestone schedules. So it's going to be a busy time of year. We're supposed to get a list of a draft of the priority project milestones, and then priorities and strategy maps. Anyway, we're going to review that in January, and but should have we working in this first quarter. And I think, Connor, there's a subcommittee, correct, that's going to look at the criteria for prioritization of the projects. Is that?
Commissioner Flores, did you join that working group? The capital improvement program prioritization or planning implementation? Yes, I think I wasn't able to make the last one, and I think your intention was to be on it. So I'm passing the buck.
I think I'm just trying to be, I think it's time to engage, right, with that committee. So we're going to look at trying to improve, I think, the way we prioritize the CIP projects is the goal. So anyway, that's the update. It's time to, this first quarter to get, I guess, get more engaged with the capital improvement planning process.
Okay. All right, next we have the Joint Sustainability Committee. I did not attend that one. Commissioner Seeger did. I don't know what specifically was on that, but we can have Commissioner Seeger update later. Small Area Plan Joint Committee meeting. Commissioner Anderson or Thompson, do you want to give us an update?
We had a review of the East Riverside Corridor Plan and how it was developed. And I think the very surprising part, or maybe it wasn't so surprising for some of us, is that nobody has taken advantage of the bonus in the entire time. And I guess it's only been about 2 years that people would have been starting to actually build projects because the site plan process is so long. So there's only a couple of years worth of development that's come online from that. But even the stuff that's in the pipeline, no one's taking advantage of. So I think there's a calibration issue there.
And there was also conversation that there are also a lot of PUDs that were in the area. And so that could potentially have taken a lot of the development, residential development that, there.
I think a lot of the development that you see along that area did not actually, was in motion before the East Riverside Corridor Plan came to be.
Chair, we also had a visitor, and I don't want to name their, yeah, you were there. I don't want to name their neighborhoods that they were representing, but this person is a part of 2 different neighborhood associations, and they had a lot of commentary about how the neighborhood that's north of 183, that they can barely make quorum, and people weren't terribly interested. And then the neighborhood south of 183, there was always a lot of effort going in to just not allow pretty much anything to get built. And the person had an observation of, why do we even have neighborhood plan contact teams anymore? Like maybe it did make sense in a district-wide city where everybody's elected at large, and this is a way to kind of focus in. But now that we have district representation, maybe it's time to really rethink things. So this person was there challenging us to broaden our scope and give more representation to folks who are not represented today. It was pretty good.
Right. I think it was very interesting to hear because basically one of the neighborhood plan contact teams, well, his one neighborhood that he was in worked really well, and the other one wasn't very functional, and very few people turning up. And so the question was, is it really equitable if it works here but it doesn't work there? Then there's something up with the process. But I totally agree. I mean, we've gone to a district representative process, and people can reach directly out to somebody who cares about their area deeply. So I think it was really neat to hear about that. So I agree. Okay, so our next piece is the operating model working group. So we haven't done much on that, but a lot of what I've been trying to do as far as how I'm conducting these meetings are also coming back to the way that PC was supposed to be operating, and Mr. Vera has been helping me with that, as well as Commissioner Hart. As we've gone through, we've kind of looked at that and try to adhere to certain rules that were already set in place, and we've been trying to get more efficient based upon that. And hopefully, it's working, and then from there we can improve upon that. Next is the Transportation Working Group. Commissioner Kenny, you want to give us a quick update?
Yes, so the public comment on ASMP is due here pretty shortly, but I've been advised that kinds of things that we are talking about are really more policy directives and are thus better formed as feedback to council as amendments that they can make to ASMP rather than like a public comment submitted to ATD. So with that in mind, we have a meeting scheduled, and I think I only have 3 total attendees right now, with 2 members of the development community who do a lot of impact fee work and planning, but also kind of hate sprawl. So that would be, we have from Big Red Dog, Dan Hennessy, and then Terry Mitchell are going to meet with us next Tuesday morning at 8:30, or we could meet at 9 or 9:30. So I wanted to just get a straw poll and see if anybody else was interested in attending that as a conversation that would precede any work that anybody might want to do on drafting something up. So it's really just kind of an informative conversation and getting some input from some people who work directly on this. So is anybody else besides Commissioner Thompson and Commissioner Flores, you're interested, right? And myself, who's interested in attending that? Okay, that's fine. And we have tentatively scheduled for 24 Diner at 8:30. Does that work? That's preferable. Or we could do like 9 or 9:30 on the east side.
Earlier is better.
Earlier is better.
8:30 at the diner. Okay, great. So hopefully we'll have something to report back to you guys at our next meeting that may be in the form of an agenda item that we could pass as a resolution as feedback to council as they consider the ASMP.
Okay, commissioners, now before we get to the final piece,